So I'm like pissed off at like unrelated shit. But I figured I would do this like really specific niche love message. All right. And I did this wrong. Fuck. I wanted to fix signifiers, but you caught me slipping. What can I say? Do I have to post this on YouTube? I'm hearing yes from Spirit. I'm slacking on reposting to YouTube. I gotta do that too. I feel like I always have to like confront my energy, and that irritates me. But that's life, baby. All right, super specific love message. This is for someone who understands the tarot cards and the significators. It's a little gay too because we have two powerful queens. We have the Queen of Cups, who is also the Hierophant in energy. We have the Queen of Swords, who's also the Mystery, which is the High Priestess of this deck. And the message I'm hoping to channel from Spirit has to do with love. So I have the pair here. Shout out to all the pair. The Magician and the Knight of Cups. Because it feels like love is like heavy in the energy and it's pushing through, but it feels like there's like this disconnect, like this like even from like how I'm positioning the cards, right? There's like a bit of like this chasm in between um these energies here. And I'm pulling the queens of the deck, but like it's not like a human gender thing. It's an energy thing, right? I feel like um I'm choosing them because they're putting forth this energy, right? This is like a message about the momentum that's gaining in the connection coming to fruition, um, each party's energy, and what's kind of required to get them moving. They're being so precise. I'm calling forth the energy of Philotes to guide this message, and the energy of Hecate to send it. So right off the bat, I'm getting the Two of Pentacles. Um, I don't know if there are any illusions in place, but this connection is very balanced and very reciprocal. I think it might be hard to kind of pick up on that just because the differences of the energies, right? Um, the Ten of Wands came out to, um, I think more so on the Queen of Spears side for sure. She's a firecracker. That one. Let's see if I can push this back a little bit more. My grocery bag. I'm also like trying to. I can just fall on the ground. I don't give a fuck. I have no downstairs neighbors. I'm also trying to like kind of release any kind of like self restrictions I have about posting on YouTube. Like part of me is like, oh, I have to post my other content before I post this. No, I don't. The fuck. But yeah, the Queen of Spears in this like mystery energy, I'm getting that there's like a lot. She's like very fiery, even in this like position here. She's like, first of all, bitch. And then she's like, second of all, bitch. Like, third of all, bitch. And it's like, are you gonna say anything meaningful, or are you just gonna call everybody a bitch? And I think the spirit moving through her is like, this is the stage of your life where you have to call everybody a bitch. And it's kind of like an intense energy, I think, even for her. But it's like one of those energies where the mystery and the high priestess is not about like being making sense. I did another reading a while ago that was kind of speaking about how the high priestess is sometimes antithetical to like uh, a a queen of pentacles or like an empress, because what she is providing is not necessarily meant to nourish. It's a message that's coming from beyond the veil, and so it can be like difficult to understand here. So there's like this energy of like intensity, and it's also kind of like a strange intensity that I think for most people is pretty difficult to understand. I pulled the King of Spears, and that's going to go on the Queen of Teacups side. Um, the differences I'm seeing here is that while this Queen of Spears is kind of like on a regular basis sharing a lot of information that is cryptic, I will say, right? I feel like if you're in the know, it feels like very intense. Like if you're tapped in to the messages, they feel very direct, but like a lot of people are seeing this information and they're being like, huh? And it's kind of like interesting because there's a similar effect happening with the Queen of Cups, but for different reasons. With her being the Hierophant, she's very well articulating messages, heartfelt messages to kind of like help grow her community here. Um, and again, I'm using she pronouns, but it could be it's all genders. I'm actually directing it to like one particular one, but being cheeky. And I think that's how this 10 I'm sorry, this King of Swords in reverse energy is cheeky. It's not that they are withholding information, but I think the way that they are expressing the information is kind of open, and it's intentionally so, with the Hierophant, so that it can reach as many people as possible. And it, in fact, does reach a lot of people, right? I think speaking in generalities is what I'm hearing. So it's almost like a two ends of the spectrum here. So we have the energy of speaking passionately in a way that the most people as possible are reached, and it's understandable by as many as possible here. Whereas this the Queen of Spears is speaking to very specific energies. And so a lot of the messages are lost on a lot of people. Um, I'm seeing that I'm feeling the energy like with the two of hedgehogs, that the balance comes from the fact that they have very different goals, but they're both very effective at their goals here. Um, and it's just like they move in different intensities with different objectives, right? um and I pulled the Knight of Teacups and the Magician as signifiers because I think it really reflects their mission of giving these passionate messages to affect change on an emotional level in their world. And I think it's what they have in common, really. And I think it also might be like one of the bigger things that attract these two to each other as well. Like, I'm not really touching on the physical. I'm not really touching on the um yeah, I'm not touching on the physical. This is more mental and emotional um energies right here. But I think these might be sapiosexuals with like all this uh King of Spears energy, Queen of Spears energy, um the mystery and the Hierophant. It speaks to um people who are big on information, different types of information, perhaps, but in some ways, I feel like they are tapping into the same source, but delivering it with two different strategies, right? And both are necessary, right? And it's gonna be, like I said before, I was talking about like specifically with the Empress energy from another reading. But if I like have that same concept for this reading, um, the when you're like tapped into the mysteries and espousing mysteries, it's very different than espousing the law, right? And sometimes they're both necessary and they both need to be communicated, but someone who is, you know, balls deep in the mysteries and kind of like sharing the esoteric nature of lost arcane and shamanic knowledge is gonna like have a hard time fitting that within the realms of the structure of society. And likewise, as someone speaks on the ability to um, better like structure society and community from a practical level, it's going to be difficult to really touch on every arcane thing, especially when you're trying to reach as many people as possible. The mysteries are so specific and so like direct to such a small few that the focus is in conflict, right? So if the focus is to, you know, bring a collective to a, higher level of knowledge, sometimes you just have to leave out those like higher level messages. What is kind of like a good example, right, that I'm feeling is like if you're in college, right? And you have to take philosophy, right? If you go into the first class you usually take is like 100 level class, and it's like for freshmen. A freshman philosophy class has 200 people in it. They're all learning the basics of concepts of what it means to think and what it means to be, right? I feel like that is like this hierophant energy, creating this like really strong foundation that people can like grow upon. The mystery is more like the 400 level class, right? These are people who have spent like several years on the path and they find themselves ready to go to that next level. In the 400 level class, you're not having everybody in there. There might be 10 students in that class, right? And the things that you're talking about, if you were to talk to the 100 level students, a lot of them would be lost. So they're both necessary if you're trying to get a degree, but it's different energy. I'm also seeing that like reflected with this 10 of flowers, right? It's like a lot to like really grasp. Um, but it's necessary to do that to kind of like um, ignite like a fire within like the high level thinkers. But the hierophant's job is to kind of restrict that knowledge so that um, even people who are just starting this journey, they don't get too intimidated and shy away from it. Yeah, temperance is definitely coming out here. um I think more clearly reflected on the King of Spears side, because it's like there you can't share everything, right? But or else you would lose people. But also in this mystery side, because there's this like acknowledgement that you are supposed to share things that will lose people, so that it will direct the people with the correct foundational knowledge to find their way in. I want to say the car honks are like confirmation, but they really are just pissing me off. I cannot express how pissed off I am at my environment right now. Not at the tarot, and I'm kind of mad that like my personal feelings were kind of shadowing it, but like my spirit was like, bro, there's only so much we can fucking do, especially like in terms of reading for larger collectives and reading for the future and dividing the cards in a broader sense. um like my body is almost like a thermometer at this point, an instrument. My body is a divination tool, let me put it that way. And so like if my instrument is like uh off in any way, it makes it difficult to read for um the future or broader energies, or energies that would like are like more difficult. So I'm just choosing to do this one because it's a very comforting energy for me, and one that I find myself in often, and it brings a lot of peace to me to be in this energy. So I have less problems reading for it. I can also do personal readings right now because I'm able to kind of like create the environment, because it's just like one person. But I'm sorry that I'm taking a break from lives. I wish I could be doing them too. But yeah, the Four of Swords is coming out. I think that is reflective of the Queen of Spears journey, especially because it's so much energy that to like work through the veil. You know, the Cheshire Cat disappears often, leaving nothing but a smile, right? And like reappears in strange places. I think that's relevant to the journey of this Queen of Spears because it's impossible to stay in that energy for prolonged periods of time. The energy almost requires like rest and retreat, because it is so difficult to hold it. And there might be this energy where this Queen of Spears is holding it so well that it doesn't reflect the turmoil. I mean, there is some level of the turmoil being reflected with the Ten of Flowers coming out, and like how I said before, she's like in this phase of just like kind of cussing people out. I think that is now kind of alerting people to the fact that um, the energy that she's channeling through the veil is not um, love and light and flowers and rainbows here. This is a very like dark energy. The Cheshire Cat is like in Alice in Wonderland, very dismissive of the real fears and concerns of Alice, right? Even though it is her guide, it like doesn't really care about her, right? It's like almost this energy of, even though it's her guide, like being her guide is not like of the highest importance to the cat, or being her guide involves, putting the onus on her to navigate a nightmare escape, especially if you read the books. I mean, the movies tend to capture it well, especially like Disney, I think, is like the chillest retelling of Alice in Wonderland, but like every other version of it that I've seen has been like a surrealist stop motion weird costume nightmare, right? Um, and so I see the Queen of Spears intermittently taking breaks that seem abrupt. Um, but again, it like speaks to the kind of reciprocity of this, or the balance of these energies here, where the queen often retreats from the information, or withholds information for her own sanity, while the Queen of Teacups here withholds information for the sanity and saliency of her community. So it's actually a very beautiful balance, right? In that this Queen of Teacups is so reserved, it allows the Queen of Spears to sit in her own reserved nature, and it's fine. I think often what this Queen of Teacups experiences, because she is such a large community, both of these people are like magicians and Knights of Teacups. Since she has such a large community that she can appeal to on such a broad level, she has to regularly set boundaries on the energy that she can put out. Not necessarily for her own sake, but just because there's so many people that's involved. And so, entering into a romantic connection, there's a fear that like the boundaries in the space that like she sets are going to, hurt connections. Because I feel in the past there's people who, were really demanding, and that's part of the reason why more reservation was required and more temperance was required. But in the case of the Queen of Spears, that's awesome, because she needs the quiet anyway, right? There's this like sense of like intermittent connection that works really well for the two. It seems like when the queen needs to stop to kind of like um, distill messages or cut off channels and just kind of like recover and recuperate. Those are the same times where the Queen of Teacups can take the same time to, um, you know, get a breath from her community too. And so there's this. I'm feeling like the two of hedgehogs kind of speaks to like I'm getting reciprocal breath, like their yin and yang is like in alignment, like where one has to pull away, one kind of pulls in and out. Like there's like a sense of like simpatico in their rest and um their rest patterns. Yeah, and I have the Six of Cups too. I think it came out, yeah, Six of Cups too. It speaks to like this like childlike nature of the two as well. The pair in, or the lovers in this deck, is reflected by Tweedledee and Tweedledum, who are twins. I think the teacups kind of furthers that the love that they have is more of an innocent, like agape type of love. Like I said, this is not really about the physical element. When I pull on the energy, I'm like the physical element. You don't gotta say shit about that. They're like growling at each other. We don't have to talk about that. It's about other layers. And there's this like innocent kind of love. Almost like two kids playing on a playground, and they just met each other, and then they're like best friends, and it's only been 5 minutes, and they're like, okay, so right now we're gonna play Ninja Turtles, and I'm Raphael, and it's like, okay, I'm Michelangelo, and they're like, okay, so that tree is Master Splinter, and I'm gonna beat it down with this stick, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna beat it down with this stick, and they're like having the time of their fucking lives, right? And it's like not super complicated. I think there's like a level of like fun that they give each other, which is like super necessary because both of them seem to do like really heavy work, right? Really important work too. So it's like there's this degree of like understanding that like yes, it's really good that they both are comfortable with the weight that is like inherent in both of their lives. Like I think there's like a mutual understanding of like intensity and the need of rest, right? And I think where these two meet each other is like how they rest together. And I'm seeing like a bunch of silliness. Um, it's almost like um, a brotherly or like a sisterly dynamic. Um, and again, please, I'm not trying to make this weird. If you want to make it weird, I can't stop you. But it's just almost like they joke well with each other. They live well with each other. Um, they fight well with each other. Because that's like I think also like with Tweedledee and Tweedledum, they were like pretty adversarial, like beating each other over the head. But with suspension in reverse and the Ace of Flowers coming out in reverse, which is the Ace of Wands, I feel like they don't hurt each other. When they fight, they're play fighting. And I think it's hard from an external perspective to witness that. I'm getting that with like even seeing that within the mirror here, because they live such intense lives that like a dark joke for someone else would just be like the tip of the iceberg. I think from the Queen of Teacups perspective, because they have worked with so many people and like have learned to carry like a lot of weight and also like hold a lot of it's like an intimacy with a lot of people because they've like gone into a lot of people's like personal energy, just from the broad scope of their audience here. And the Queen of Spears experiences that more so from like the depths of the energies that she works with, that they've both seen a lot, right? So and I feel like the depths and the weight of that energy I'm feeling is like very heavy and very deep here. Um, so in other connections, it might be difficult to like laugh about it, but here I feel like the intensity is kind of like subdued because it's like almost like a mutual understanding. It's like a foundational similarity so that they can move to that next step and be like, okay, so we both know everything is horrible and intense and crazy and people are wild and the universe is like a series of interconnected uh, tubes or whatever the fuck. And we just need to leave that alone, right, for a second. and and just kind of like put that like intensity down, and I feel like that's something that they're very capable of doing. I think the Queen of Teacups a little bit more. I'm sorry, I looked at the teacups. I'm sorry. The Queen of Spears a little bit more. Um, signified by, excuse me, signified by the Six of Teacups. Like there's an ability to kind of like pour more levity into the situation. And I think that comes from the mysteries that she knows, although they're also dark. The Cheshire Cat is like very playful, right? And there's almost like a playfulness that is channeled from the darkness that I think she has a lot of ease, like pouring and giving that and sharing that. Almost like part of the way that she can like rest from the weight and the intensity of the energy she's channeled. There's a lot of energies that she can channel that are um, sweet and kind and lighthearted and funny. And I think that's something that the Queen of Teacups kind of struggles with, you know, just being in that watery energy and holding um, all of that communal pain and stuff. I get some of the energy that she might even like drink to kind of tolerate it sometimes. Um, and sometimes gets stuck in that energy with the suspension in the verses. Is the hangman in reverse. Sometimes it feels like the right thing to do is just to kind of like hold on to that energy. Um, because like a lot of the times she just kind of wants to take a break from speaking about it or dealing with it, or you know. And I think again, this is where we find some balance with the energies because they both want to like put the weight down. I think because the Queen of Spears struggles with moving out of that weight, it can seem like somebody who can genuinely move into levity is like putting on an act, right? And I think that's also what I'm kind of getting from this. Like, I keep coming back to this mirror. Like, there's like this um, different version or a mask, like the movie Mirror Mask is significant, that she can move into to make the situation seem lighter. But even in that, like, um, even that, like, that mask of levity, that is a type of weight that like she has to learn how to balance. But that's not the case for the Queen of Spears. The Queen of Spears, it's maybe the detachment of just being a Queen of Spears in general allows, and plus like the channel of like levity that they're receiving. Their levity and their silliness is super genuine, and sometimes I'm getting it almost like their cup overfloweth with silly, so it's something that they're willing to pour out and into um, this Queen of Teacups. I'm even getting that like yes, this could be substances, but I'm also getting that there's an ability to drink up the excess silly that is over here, and that can bring balance, almost like a potion for this Queen of Teacups, but because you know it's genuinely just a facade for her when she's in that energy, and it's a draining facade. I think there's a concern about um, when this Queen of Spears goes in that energy, and I think I was talking about how this Ace of Flowers in reverse is how they can like fight. But I'm also seeing it as like this knowing that like um, even though this is a gift that's being poured out of excess, with the mysteries, it's like even channeling joy has like a price that needs to be brought into rest. And even like there's an understanding of like the Queen of Spears having this like um, facade that might need to, or like I don't want to call it a facade because I think it's just as authentic. Like in Mirror Mask, the other side of the mirror was a world that was just as real, but like um it's just a different person, right? I think this is an understanding that like even that like even the silly has to be put down at some point too, and that's like a sense of balance that like these two are kind of like able to witness in each other, and also willing to like respect and also be grateful for, but also know that that's something that needs to be held in temperance too. So these two not only can understand the weight of the soul's mission that they have, but they can also understand the weight of joy, especially in excess. And so there's something about these two wanting to keep each other balanced. And I think that's part of the what's kind of like causing the relationship to not move forward, even though there is a lot of reciprocity and balance, passion, and like a willingness to work and be in that same mission. I think they're just kind of concerned about each other's well-being. They don't want the other to overdo it. Yeah, Five of Cups, because they know what that feels like to be burnt out, especially from spiritual work, and then also from, like, the Hierophant is also like the high priest from being in a position of priesthood, as of being like a holy man or woman. It's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of burnout, and I'm sure both of these two have like stories where the joy and the pain went horribly wrong. And there's not just this like, I think they both have a firm understanding of like how to step back. Maybe it's one that they grew into an understanding of. I'm not sure when they got into this understanding. They might have gotten to this understanding yesterday type shit. um but like they know that they need to, be temperate with their energy and rest. And it's not just an understanding that they know from themselves, they've learned that from how it went wrong in the past. So it's not just this like understanding that like I need to protect myself from the pain of pushing too far. It's like I want to protect this other person too. I think what makes that harder, the Tower in reverse, is that yes, there's like this need for balance, but because the energies are so similar, um, I don't think that like even like a tower, and I think the tower in this deck is so funny, is Alice not being able to fit into this house, right? Um, I think their energies get even bigger with each other because there is so much balance. It's almost like, um, when someone has the same, like when two people wear the same size clothes, it's almost like they have a huge wardrobe when they move into to each other's place, right? Because they can wear each other's outfits. Or this is true with like friends too, or family members. Like, me and my mom wore the same size shoes, so sometimes those were my shoes. I was like, "Where's my outfit?" I'm like, "Where's my dress?" It's like, "You mean my dress?" So it's almost like when these two are together, because the energies are so similar, their energy is like super transferable. Um, this might kind of manifest in a lot of ways, like, yeah, like when they get like readings done, it might be really difficult to kind of ascertain who the reading is about because their energies are so similar. There's this energy that their vibes can go back and forth really fast, um, and it kind of is like a thing where it can create like comfort and allow them to kind of like move through life a little bit easier. But there's also this energy of like, um, overdoing it very easy too, because there's like this feeling that, oh, I have so much more energy because I can borrow from their energy, right? And it's true to a degree, but then there's this understanding that like both parties can like, share with each other, but they know that there has to be a firm stop, right? There has to be a firm boundary. And I'm seeing this as like a fear, but at least it was at one period of time. But I think, um, one of these people play about their motherfucking boundaries, right? So I feel like, and even the way that I've like done the spread is like so easy to just kind of split to the side. I think that might have happened a couple of times, and like I think the fact that the boundaries are so firm, like, helped them to realize that the energy exchange in the past was reciprocal. It had limits. Um, Even if those limits were kind of crossed, there was an understanding of the crossing of limits. I'm getting there was a communication of that crossing. So a lot was learned from the tower. And so that tower kind of became less of a like demolition event as much of a as much as a like an awareness of like how much energy can we share, how well can we fit both of our energies into one room, and when does that start to become overwhelming, and when do we need to start to pull away. And I think because those types of questions get asked instead of like um falling into like a blame game or going into like guilt or victim blaming or like weird shit, like there's this awareness that like that shit gets worked through, and the tower is never really as bad as it seems like it will be in the beginning. And that's a type of balance too, like this awareness that shit won't stand for very long. The bullshit that pops up becomes a tool to work through. Anything else? I'm trying to keep it cute, Spirit. Thank you. The 10 of hedgehogs. Yeah. I mean, it came through in reverse, and I think it's because and especially with the tower being a house in this, I think there's an understanding that because um boundaries are so significant here, um a conventional relationship of maybe like complete cohabitation or complete sharing or full availability doesn't work for either party here. Um, but because it doesn't work for either of them, it's almost like this understanding of like, oh, that's a good thing. It's like, I don't think this person wants to like do the corny like American heteronormative American dream shit. Like if I was forced to do it with a ball and chain or a shotty to my head, like I would pick this person. If shit goes left and we have to testify in federal court, I'm locked in with this motherfucker. But short of a situation like that, it's like I think they're just kind of like cool with whatever vibe I'm cool with, right? I think this comfort with silence, right? But also like this like understanding that when there is that energy available, that this person can like move through it very well, that they can share very well, even in this energy where it seems like the person with the mysteries has like more energy um, than this hierophant, right? Or like more flowing energy um, at times. I think there's even this like understanding that like that person knows when to cut themselves off. Um, and I think it's because the Hierophant allows them a form of like self reflection here. It just feels like it's not reciprocal in like the exact same sense, but like it feels like every card that I'm pulling here has like a sense of balance. And because this relationship is so unconventional, it's like the types of push and pull are so different than like a typical, not only like, you know, like I have two queens on here, so it's also, it's very queer, but it's also like because of like this mystical element, because of this like like, yeah, with the priest and the mystery, because of like this intensity of like the importance of the message shared here, and because of like the reach and the purity I'm getting with the King of Spears in reverse of the message of the Hierophant. There's like a respect of each art that comes from a higher power, and the it's not necessarily the expression of that art that is in balance, but the reception of the of source that is mutualistic, that creates a greater level of respect. And there's almost this energy of, yeah, with the Ace of Cups coming through, that when like communication, or like when there's like a lack of communication, both of these energies are tapping into like similar higher powers. Um, and that kind of allows them to have an understanding of, you know, this like the different expression, right? It's almost like um you go to the grocery store and you get a dozen eggs, right? And you, like, let's say the mystery likes to fry their eggs sunny side up, while the Hierophant prefers to scramble them. Even though they're two different products, they're the same product. And so there's like this understanding, the respect, like they might taste different, they might look different, but they feel like, and they are the same thing energetically, you know? And there's that sense of sameness that brings a sense of balance, because there's almost like you can like plot, like if you can like reverse engineer the other party's energy to kind of like figure out where they're coming from, when it's kind of like hard to during the silence. I'm also getting that like the shared spirituality allows psychic communication, and that can like, yeah, completely cut through any physical boundaries, right? um of the physical form. So it's like there is no need to like, even when boundaries are firmly in place for the sake of their like mental health here, there is still this ability to play with each other. Right? What was my play with each other card? Yeah, I think it was just these guys. They can still play with each other, they can still fight with each other, they can still give to each other, they can still use each other as tools of self-reflection. They can where I put this on top of, yeah, they can still like manifest a connection of, with a lot of like fulfillment and security, even without physically being in that space, or even while being in a space where they would otherwise be incapable of doing it with someone else. And I think that kind of adds to like the intensity of the passion of it. I put this on the side with the Hierophant, and I think it's kind of like interesting, um, because I feel like even though the Hierophant speaks less, I'm getting the energy that they feel it more, and it's just like an energy where they are so used to like communicating on that broader spectrum, right? That it's kind of harder to. Um, it's not even that they're not tapped in, right? Because I feel like they are feeling that energy, but there's like this more grounded humanistic like reception of it, whereas the Queen of Spears is always kind of like tapped in behind the veil, so it's kind of like normal for them to be in this state of perpetual death, rebirth, blessings and gifts and curses and pain and all this other stuff. That's just a Tuesday. But for this Queen of Teacups, who's is just a feeler by nature. Look at her. She's just so like she's like I just want to have my sleepy time tea and pull my blanket up to my neck and just go to sleep. Just drink her little potions and like make sense of it. And I think it's felt more, and it's like because it's so intense to be in this energy, right? And there might be just like a lot of quiet towers about just processing um, this high level of energy on a regular basis, right? Because I feel like, the Queen of Spears, she kind of disappears a lot. But the persistent psychic communication means that like um it's really hard for this Queen of Teacups to take a break even in like moments of silence, right? And so there's this desire to find temperance that's kind of being drowned out by the intensity of this emotion. And I believe that they are like managing the constant challenges of this because of it, like because it brings this perpetual state of self-reflection, right? And it's met by this understanding, right? If nothing else, the Queen of Spears is understanding. If anything, understanding to a fault. If anything, pissed at like how much that might be why they're like calling everybody a bitch, because they understand why they're being a bitch and they can articulate the bitchiness so succinctly that they can get out of their own way. But to be in that energy so much is like very draining, and I think what brings reciprocity to that is that the the high like the high priestess here is always willing to pour into this, especially like when it is overwhelming. And I think that's like a new thing, like, and it's like a rare thing, um, not just for this hierophant energy, but to see someone who's like in a constant state of like death, life, rebirth, unrest, yelling, screaming, resting, moving. It's a different thing every 12 minutes, and that energy still is able to be like, send a good morning text every day, 15 memes, a voice note, a song that they wanted to sing, a joke, they roast you, they send you 12 tips of like life advice, and they smack you on your butt and send you on your way. It's like, how are you doing all of that? Don't you have work to do? And I have work to do. And there's again this like that comes back to this like um this like it's just concern, um because it is like a very like intense and like watery path that the priestess lives on. But like I think there's this understanding. I don't know if there's this understanding that that's just her home. Like that's her home. She lives in chaos, so it doesn't seem strange to her. It's like, if you had like some kind of childhood trauma and everyone's telling stories about their childhood and laughing and stuff, and then you tell a story about your childhood and everybody gets quiet and they're like, are you good? And it's like, oh damn, that was traumatizing. It's like it doesn't even click because it's just a part of just a part of the story, right? So there's like almost like an a lack of understanding sometimes that like um, there should be more rest here. And I think the the Queen of Teacups doesn't want their unrest to be something that like causes the mystery to go out of their way to um to heal, right? Because they don't want them to overdo it. But what I'm seeing in this energy is that like there's almost a reflective quality that comes from providing this healing and support to this Queen of Teacups Hierophant here with this like mirror and suspension. That like um, as the Queen just kind of like turns the evaporator on to help the Hierophant kind of like navigate their emotional world, it's something that helps them too. You know, I feel like with this like Six of Cups, it's like there's this um, mutualism that comes from the giving. That in giving to the Hierophant, um, the mystery is better able to understand um, the humanistic areas in which she needs to give to herself, which is kind of difficult because of the attachment, but to see it reflected in another person, it's almost the act of like speaking to it is like a spell that like helps to balance their own world here. And I think that like it's very much appreciated by the Hierophant to like have like a higher perspective, because then it allows them to synthesize it into something that can be more clearly understood. Um, so that happens um, like physically through speech, but also in the process of communication here. Anything else? Yeah, it's just this other, just a further iteration of I'm getting the peace and also the mystery here, that and the importance of silence in this situation, that like although all of this is being poured out and offered by the Queen of Spears mystery to the Hierophant Queen of Cups, um, it doesn't really seem like it matters if it's taken or not. Like it's just something, like it feels like I got all these cups in my house. It's like literally I have 10 cups in my house. If you want to have a cup of something, you can have a cup of something. If not, they're just still in my house. I mean, what's the point of me having 10 cups if I'm one person? Is the energy that they have. And so there's also this kind of understanding of like, I don't really know how many cups this person has. So like if they want to take a cup, they can. I have 4 cups that they can have. I see they have 7 cups. So I know they're probably not even going to need half of these cups, right? Who knows what's in those cups? There's almost like a blind offering. It's like not even knowing if it's needed or not. And I think there's also this kind of mystery to the Queen of Cups Hierophant herself, of knowing like I don't really know if I need everything that they're trying to give me. It's like, but there's also this kind of like acknowledgement that like when the offer is made, it kind of forces them to reflect on, do I have this already? Is this something that I have in my cups and I haven't even used? Or is this something where, yeah, I actually could need the support? Or so it's like the generosity is a reflection tool as well. Um, I'm just about ready to wrap this up, but I want to use my, oh shit. I'm gonna use my Oracle cards real quick. Yeah, I just feel like they have when these two are together, they are able to take any shitty lemon and make it into lemonade. Um, and it's powerful, and I think that's part of why if there's any like external like karmic bullshit on the outside of this connection, um it's because these two are so powerful together. Anybody who is like energetically leeching off of them are not able to do that because these two provide like a synergistic picture. It might be that this person has a whole bunch of lemons and this person has a whole bunch of water, and like when they're together, they find a sugar mine. Um, find a big old box of sugar cubes. And it's like, here, these are for you. And it's like perfect. I have a whole bunch of bullshit ass face fucking ass weird ass lemons, and it's like fuck, you gotta keep these lemon stealing whores away from our tree, bro. And then you just get all that water when you're together, right? And it's like it's obvious, it's like that like synergistic moment. And I'm sure all of you provide all of those things, like because you can provide all of those things to yourselves when you're alone, but just at different degrees, right? But when you're together and then you're like I forgot which card I was saying was like about the pooling of the resources. I think it was the all of them really. But like when you're able to pool your resources, it's like, oh, I had 6 lemons, 6 part lemons, 2 part sugar, 1 part water. It's like I got 1 part water, 2 parts ice, 1 part lemon. And I ate all my sugar cubes. I'm so sorry. I was really hungry. But like when you put that together, you got a big ass jug of lemonade. You can turn that shit into jungle juice if you're feeling crazy. Confirmation, right? Yes. So, I think the hardest part is that like you're so used to just kind of like making your makeshift hydration beverage together that it's hard to like ask. It's hard to like be like, "Hey, do you want to like get together?" Bitch, you know I want some lemonade. Like get angry about it. It's like it's not. It doesn't have to be that hard. But I think because of just like your diametric ways of communicating, sometimes it's like very hard to find a common ground that doesn't feel confrontational. Even though like the things that you're being confrontational about are like really cute, and it's just like. Bitch, just give me some of your fucking love. I know you got it for me. Why are you keeping it from me? I know why you're keeping it from me. Give it to me anyways. But it's like the firm boundaries are like are the sexiest part of the relationship. So you're like, I know why you're not giving it to me. You're working hard on yourself or whatever. Like, and I see the growth that you're making in yourself, and it's like so steady growth, and I'm like really proud of you and whatever. And it's like really like I admire it, and I'm incorporating it into my life and everything. But just get coffee with me. I love you. But no, you keep it quiet. You keep it quiet. You keep it cool. You keep it quiet. Keep it cool. Keep it quiet and cool. There's almost like this. It's almost like y'all are study buddies in a library. Instead of just like two people who are like going on crazy dates, it's more like, hey, I brought my books. You brought your stuff. Why don't we just kind of like sit together and like work on the things that we need to work on in the same room? And it's like sometimes you're not working. Sometimes you're like, let's work together, and you're not working together. You're shooting vocal stems off at each other at a rapid speed until someone comes along and it's like, y'all have to shut up and get back to work. And it's like, valid. Valid. But y'all have the resources to be whatever you want to be to each other. I just think that like the things that are slowing the connection are like necessary for survival, right? And the things that bring you together are are gonna not me going seal mode again. The things that bring you together help you work on things alone. So it's like this energy of like, it like eventually you're gonna figure it out. I think sometimes it feels like you're not figuring it out because of that requirement of independent study that you guys find yourself in. But I think that's just part of the process, and an acknowledgement that like the independent study time is required before you come together and like do the group work is good. And it's also this understanding of like, it's not necessarily like, oh, so I'm going to do my independent study and you do your independent study, and then we'll come back together and do the work forever and it'll be perfect. It's like, no, I think there's an understanding that like, you'll continually have to like take breaks to figure it out. And I don't think that's necessarily like the relationship ending, although like I'm getting it might feel that way sometimes with Taurus in reverse. I don't know what's on the other side of Taurus on the wheel, astrology wheel, but that's what spirit is trying to communicate. Saying, look it up, bitch. Fine. Fine, I'll learn, bro. And it's that energy too of like a willingness to learn each other's boundaries, a willingness to learn how each other communicates, a willingness to learn more about each other. A lot of the independent study is tools that will allow you to work together better. So it's like this sense of like, you're gonna figure it out, because even apart, it's like a tool that you use to get back together. So if it's the third sign, so hold on. So Aquarius, Aries, Taurus. So it would be the eighth sign. Yeah, Scorpio. Yeah, it's gonna be just a lot of like um going into the underworld, a lot of underworld journeys, kind of like not only like digging up things about your own self, right, but helping each other dig too into each other, intentionally, unintentionally, reflectively, directly. There's a lot of subversive energy that kind of flows through this connection, and what it allows you to do is not only have a deeper understanding of the person, but it like allows for a deeper understanding of yourself, and that allows you to show up as yourself better in your community and in the work that you do. And that work empowers more people to kind of like make the world a better place. And as the world becomes a better place, it becomes easier to like exist in the comfort of the connection too. So yeah, it's just like a process. Um, I keep seeing that yin and yang, that two of pentacles energy just really flowing in a sense of balance that's not quite like Libra, where it's like 6 7 6 7. It's not a 6 7 balance, it's a yin yang, um you know, timey wimey spirally pearl thing. And so it's not gonna like make sense from a close up perspective. To really understand the reciprocity of this connection, you'll need to look on a broader scope of time, a broader scope of energy, and a broader understanding of how those energetic effects compound and transmute into different energy, and like the source of those energies as well. But it seems like a nice little relationship. If I was in it, I would try to get them pregnant. really lock that down for as long as possible. But that's just me.